Hey people, welcome to the channel and continuing with this series of videos about bug out bags. Now, if you haven't seen the other ones, I suggest you do so. Go check those out. While you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel. Also remember that I have my books available in the links there below. Those books are Surviving the Economic Collapse, 3 Survival Skills, and yes, for this sort of thing, Bugging Out and Relocating would be a good addition. These 3 books of mine will really help you get a lot better prepared much faster than if you try doing, well, basically what I've been doing, which is years and years dedicated to researching, studying, and learning as much as I can about survival and preparedness. All of that is condensed in my books and here in the channel as well. You have a ton of content already uploaded, which you can just use the search function of the channel and find specific topics. As always, any questions, suggestions, those are always more than welcome, so keep that in mind. Now, let's get to this topic. As I was explaining in the start of this series of videos, this is a topic that you need to understand, not just from the material perspective, the point of view, oh, I have this, and no, there's things that are far more important. Your knowledge, guys, is far more important. The knowledge that you have is a lot more important than any of the tools you use, right? So always keep that in mind. What you know, the skills you have acquired, the way of thinking that you've developed over the years by learning, by reading books such as mine or watching this kind of content is going to be a lot more important than, oh, I have this, or I have that knife, or I have that gun. No. Those things are super nice to have, especially when you need them, and sometimes it really does save the day, but what's between your ears is always far more important. I was in an interview recently talking about, well, when is it that you actually bug out? When is it that I use my bug out bag, my I'm never coming home bag, my get home bag, right? All of these, well, you need to make smart decisions. And sometimes it's not really that clean cut, that clear. If your house is burning down, yes, you may have just seconds to leave your house. Is this gonna be my priority? Well, probably the first thing I will be grabbing is my VIP bag, my very important papers and documents bag, as I explained in this book and Bugging Out and Relocating and my other one as well. These are and I did a lot of research for this one in particular, for Bugging Out and Relocating. This may be the book that I've researched the most in terms of understanding how these things go down and the complexity. It's not all the same. Sometimes you have seconds to leave a house before you're done. It may be fire, it may be a flood, it may be a home invasion in which you've been overwhelmed, you don't have the means to defend yourself, whatever scenario ended up happening. It's you just have to leave there with whatever is on you. That would be the worst possible scenario. Now, if I have 1 minute, maybe I grab one of my bags. If I have 5, 10, an hour, I'm getting notifications on the phone that my area is being evacuated because of floods, storm, disasters, whatever the case may be. I know because of the news that we're getting invaded, we're getting bombed, something that is very relevant to the world in which we live now. All of these things happen to people that probably thought, yeah, I'm good, I'll never need any of this. During this conversation that I had with this person, we were talking about how many preppers and survivalists in the United States that thought that, no man, I'm good. I already bug out. I'm living in my cabin that I've been building up as my retreat for the worst case scenario, so I don't need to bug out ever. I've already bug out to Oregon in the middle of the forest, and then a fire comes and burns everything down, and you lose everything, and you had no idea that, yes, even then you may end up facing a situation in which you have to bug out of there. It may be personal situations. You're getting a divorce, you got into an argument with your spouse, things are not, and you just have to leave. You cannot be there anymore. Your lawyer told you to get the hell out of there now, because if not, you will have serious problems to deal with. You just don't know what happens. You may be sick. I mean, there's cases in which people have sent me messages about, oh yeah, I used my bag when one of my kids had an accident and we ended up in the hospital. That was really helpful, having a change of clothes and some of these things. You just don't know. The idea here is you're gonna use it when you have to leave and you don't have the option of staying. And that's basically what to do when staying is not an option, all right? So this is one of the bags that we have here in the family. There's stuff that is clearly missing here, things that I would definitely update. But let's go through the entire thing. First of all, we start with the actual bag. Again, not too big, not too small. One more thing. We talked about knowledge, skill, the wisdom acquired, your physical. How strong are you? Can you do the job that the situation requires? Can you walk long distances? Can you run? Can you carry someone else? How far? Which family members may need to be carried? Do you have a baby? Do you have a kid? Do you have someone with a disability? Someone ends up getting hurt, and all of a sudden that person needs a bit of your own help too. All of these things have happened before. So yes, besides the knowledge is your physical ability. Don't underestimate the importance of that. What bag are you going to look for? I mean, this is a little bit different. This is a little bit more military kind of looking bag sort of thing compared to the one that I showed in the previous video, which was more of a normal Victorinox bag. A couple of things. First of all, radio that needed to be charged, the batteries, and flashlight. The flashlight was okay. The radio needed to be topped up in the batteries, and I just did that. Check this out. It's not even working. Dead. Why? I have no idea. It's a button cell battery. It should be working, but yeah, when you check it, it's not working. If you were counting on this, well, that's gonna suck. You probably have to replace it with a new one, and that's why you have a number of these things, especially when it's affordable little items like these. Get several and just replace as you need them, okay? I think that makes quite a bit of sense. And yes, these are the only thing. I don't want to have a ton of things dangling around. Maybe you have a pry bar, maybe you have a machete, maybe you have some tool for some defense or not. But these are the only things I really would want to have, like instant access on the outside if I end up needing them, right? And the same logic applies as we move on. Those exterior pockets, that's where we will have the things I need the most. It may be flashlight, even though you saw that there's one already outside. It may be your medical emergency supplies, a first aid kit, tourniquet, a Kleenex, a big towel, some wet wipes, and an FFP3 respirator. Why? Well, because if air is compromised, if there's ash, smoke, yes, you're not going to be doing a lot of good with air heavily full of smoke, but it does help quite a bit. If there's particles because of collapsed structures, buildings, maybe an earthquake, maybe an attack of some sort, whatever caused air to be compromised, you're not going anywhere if you can't breathe. So that's why it is a priority. First aid kit, respirator, tourniquet, flashlight, things that allow you to see. If you cannot see, again, you're going nowhere. So you want to have all of those things organized for quick, immediate access. Moving on, I have a fishing kit. This is from our friend from Rule of the Wasteland. His channel is cool. We talked with him, and he does a very nice kit. He sent me this one a while back. I did a video review of it. And he's obviously into this thing, and it's quite thorough. It's not just a couple of fishing hooks and lines just thrown in there. If you have this as part of your plan or a potential need. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. In general, for the enormous majority of bug out scenarios, you're not gonna stop fishing. But hey, your situation may be completely different, and that is probably a very good way to go so as to cover that potential need, or putting one together yourself. Usually it's going to be a lot more basic than that. Usually your bug out bag is going to be so as to get you from one point to the other as part of your plan. We have an emergency radio. That is not all that great. Maybe something like this needs to be replaced, and as you see, it's charging already with the sun that it's getting, so that's a good indication. You have a poor flashlight, but you have a radio and way of charging a phone, even though not ideal. I like those because those are super simple, and as long as you throw a battery that's already there in the box, it works. And this is the kind of thing that years later, it's still allowing you to get information if there's a serious situation going on and you just need to know what the hell is happening. A couple emergency bags, sleeping bags, not what you would want to have in serious cold weather locations, but more moderate, yeah, it's going to be better than sleeping without anything at all. Change of clothes. This is often missing in many of these survival bags. Just t-shirts, shorts, underwear, socks, the basics in a sealed bag, so as to not get it wet and just preserve it better. That's essential. In any bag, you need a change of clothes for each family member. Water, a little bit of food, a little bit of cordage, one of those neck sock things that's pretty handy, pretty convenient. I have a shovel and I have binoculars. Why? Well, it could be something that ends up being needed, but not something that you should have in every single bag. Again, as part of the team, as part of the family, as part of the group, that is something that one person may have in his bag and someone else has something different besides his individual requirements, right? Lighter, some matches. I have a windproof jacket with a hoodie, so that's going to be working along with the clothes. Regarding that, there's something interesting there to be said about these, like sports socks or outdoor. Well, it's not out. It's like for water sports and for beach things. It's basically like a little sock with a little bit of rubber underneath there, so as to have some separation from the ground. This is not as good as actual boots or sneakers or proper shoes, but this is super lightweight, very compact, usually quite affordable too. So if you throw, depending on the needs you have, maybe you're in a location where, yeah, you're not dealing with cold, you're not dealing with long distances that need to be covered and so on. No, you just want to have something that separates you from the ground. This may not be all that terrible. Or proper pair of sneakers. Whatever it is that your situation dictates, you work with that. I have the gloves and eye protection that was missing from the other bag that I said, what's missing here? Well, these. If you're going to be using gloves, you're going to use eye protection as well, especially if you have like a crowbar, like I explained in the previous videos, crowbars, tools, anything for maybe moving objects, heavy things that need to be pulled apart and open. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Garbage bags and a small knife. That's nothing special. It's a Stanley knife that is pretty sturdy, and that's kind of it, guys. Let me know what you think is missing from this kit. Let me know what you think was actually a good idea. Hey, I never thought of that. That actually makes a lot of sense. Let me know your comments, your thoughts there below. See you on our next video. Take care.